Hello everyone, this is Darcenobi here with another review on another one of these graphic novels that were released during the time of TCW. This one is The Wild Riders of Taloraan. I can't even pronounce the fucking planet's name. Anyway, this is this ties into a classic Marvel Star Wars story, which I think that if you're a fan of that run, and it's kind of cool, I guess, to have you know, a, a direct reference, in a story. One thing I'm seeing a pattern though in these early TCW graphic novels is Ahsoka is like the center of a lot of these stories. It seemed like Lucasfilm at the time that these comics were coming out and the show really wanted to get people to actually accept Ahsoka, and they really wanted people to like her. So they inserted her in these comics every chance they could. Honestly, I had no problem with that. As much as I may not be the biggest fan of Ahsoka, but I can understand you introduce a new character and you want, the fan base to accept them because you want to tell stories with them, and you want to, essentially she was the hot thing at the time along with Starkiller. They wanted this character to be popular. Because, I'm not saying that, TCW doesn't have some fans. It does amongst the EU community, and I feel like they were trying to get some people to, accept this character. Not only that, this was also a good way for, young adults, maybe children who are watching TCW at the time, to read more stories featuring these characters. Unlike the other two comics that I've reviewed, that use the TCW art style, this one actually doesn't look that bad. I mean, I'm not too fond of the way the characters look in the comics, but if you look at, there's certain panels I think look really good in my opinion. I'm talking about the ships and the non human looking characters, or the non you know anything that where we have a previous existing character. Now, this does feel like a TCW episode. I think it's the best of these comics that I've reviewed so far. I don't consider it an amazing story, but I consider it a decent story. I just like the last one. I actually think if you're a fan of Ahsoka Tano and you are looking for more material featuring her, which, let's be honest here, she isn't really featured that much in the expanded universe, or even in, well, that I shall not name. And I do think that if you're looking for extra stories featuring Ahsoka Tano, there's a good amount of them in the graphic novels. The art in this comic I consider passable. I don't consider it bad like the last issue and the one before it. I don't consider it bad. Personally, I would rather have a different art style than the TCW style in comic form, because the designs just don't translate very well for the characters. The ships, on the other hand, I think they do translate really well, like this right here. This panel, that I'm pointing to, like right here. Oh crap! I meant this one. Yeah, I think this looks good. If you're not a fan of TCW, this is not going to convince you to check this comic out. But if you're like myself, wants to have a complete collection, check it out. It's not that expensive. It's very easy to find, right, for now anyway. And it doesn't take up much space. It's not that expensive. And I actually think I would recommend to read it if you are interested in more Star Wars stories in this era. I give this a decent rating. I don't think it's a bad story. I think it's one of the better stories that are tied into TCW. And next time, I'm going to review a comic that has a more appealing art style. The Hero of the Confederacy will be the next one I review. I know this one was not released after that one, but I don't have the other one. And comics I own are a bigger priority than those that I don't own. Later, and may the force be with you always.